スタジオ3万
And hopefully, Back to the Future the musical's good.
I think it's literally just going to be shares if I could turn back time for like 2.5 hours.
I mean, if I'd have known that before I bought the tickets,
I would have bought premium seating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cosplay.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast. It's your boy Dan.
And Reg.
Just plain old Reg.
Well, I really like to mix it up every now and again.
It's normally me that's just like, it's Dan, and you're like, it's your homeboy Reginald Esquire the Third, and all that.
I know, and this time round we've swapped over.
Yeah, I stole Dave's intro. I don't know why, it was in my head.
Well, the weird thing was,
it's your boy Dave.
It was literally what I was going to open with, and then you opened with it, and I was like,
You were gonna intro with It's Your Boy Reg?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. We're like minds, Reg. Same wavelength.
Indubitably good, sir. Anyway, how was one's birthday?
Oh yeah, it's been that long, hasn't it? That's why we didn't pod. It was good. It was a lovely little birthday. I went camping near Betws, which is it's in Snowdonia in Wales. It's got lots of little walks. I don't know whether you remember, Reg, but we went walking there. I mean, it's got to be like 10 years ago. We walked up a very, very steep hill in the forest, got to the top, could not be bothered going any further, and then noticed we were right next to this reservoir lake thing, which had this this big concrete dam that you could walk over, and then there was a little island, and we were like, oh, let's go there and eat lunch. And we walked along this wall. It was very Stand By Me. It was like walking across the train tracks, but we were walking along the top of a dam. And then we sat on this little island in the middle of this lake thing. And then we were just like, yeah, should we just stay here? And then literally for the next 3-4 hours, we were just sat there chilling instead of doing our 6-mile hike we were going to do.
It was good times.
It was very good times. But we did the same walk, basically, apart from other than the sitting in the middle of the lake thing. But we walked up the big steep hill, and I was like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense now why we didn't walk any further, because I'm really tired. Did that, had a little barbecue, went into a random little sweet shop in Betws, which is basically, it's one of these little villages that only exists because there's lots of walks nearby. So the only shops other than these little, you've got a spa and stuff like that and a bunch of pubs. The only shops really are Mountain Warehouse and, a regatta shop, things like that, stuff that people are going to buy all their walking equipment. Or they hope they are, even though most people who are going for walks probably would have brought walking equipment, but who knows. And then there was this little sweet shop, selling loads of imported sweets and stuff like that. And they had 2 types of Mountain Dew that I've never seen in real life before. One of them I didn't even know existed. I can't remember what it's called now, Maui something like that, and it's this pineapple
Maui
one, but
Blast or something like that.
There you go. But the can is massive. The can is at least a sort of 500 or 600 milliliter can. It's huge. And then I managed to get a can of USA, which every time there's an election, they seem to bring out a new version of USA. And sometimes it's you vote for your favorite creation and stuff like that. This time it was they took the three most popular flavors that are not normal Mountain Dew. So Code Red, which is cherry, Voltage, which is a raspberry one, and Whiteout, which I can't remember what it is. But either way, all those 3, and so that's red, white, and blue basically, and they just put them all into one drink. I haven't tried it yet. Sat in my fridge. I was like, I'm not drinking them now. They're not cold. I've got to wait. So yeah, that was probably one of the highlights of my birthday, finding 2 random Mountain Dew flavors out in the wild in the middle of Wales. It's great. And then we went and met Sean/Steve in Manchester. We went for £1 tacos and bao buns, which were amazing. And then we went and watched Mr. Liam Frost play a live gig. So that's the first gig in, let me think, March last year. I can't remember the exact date, but we were in Tokyo, and I went to see Necronome Idol and Yanakota Soto Mute play a gig, and it was amazing. And that was the last concert I got to go to before, the world died.
Nice.
So
now
we're
very
back.
Jealous.
Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. And he even played a new song, Reg, not to make you even more jealous, but yeah, played a new song.
A Fountainhead one, or?
I don't know. Just a new song. He said, "Here's a new song." Oh, new song. And yeah, it was rather wonderful.
It was everything you hoped.
Of course it was, Reg. I mean, it was, a return to live music, and it was a brand new Liam Frost tune, and all was good with the world. And then my birthday was over for another year. Next year, I'm going to be 40.
Huzzah! Did we? I don't know if we discussed this in the end, but you know how I always thought I was like a year younger than you, or we thought I was a year younger than you, and then it was like, oh no, it's 2. Turns out I'm only 37. I genuinely thought I was 38.
Okay,
but I'm not. So a year younger than I expected.
That makes more sense, because whenever we talk about when we met, it was you were doing work experience, so it didn't quite make sense that I was working there.
I know, right?
Full-time. Well, either way.
Fun times, happy days.
Yeah, it was. As was my birthday. But it's been a whole week since then, hasn't it? It's been down to London once since then. Going down again next week, but really? in fact, yeah, totally separate things. Family party in where's that airport near London? I can't remember. The one, Luton. The one that's London Airport, that's not in London, Luton Airport. That wasn't where the party was. It was in Luton.
Right. I was going to say that's a bit of a strange party.
Went for that, and then drove back. And then next week we are doing. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. So we do need to discuss exactly what's going to happen pod-wise, because there's plenty of options. We'll work something out as long as I'm not editing. Basically, this Thursday, myself and Steve are going on a little trip to Dublin.
You are?
Yeah, because again, it was one of those things like he's got 3 weeks off. I don't do anything with my life. So it's like, what should we do? Should we do something? And he's like, oh, let's go to Berlin. I'm like, not going to Berlin and spending £90 on getting tested. Where can we go? Oh, look, Ireland, you can go. That's like one of the only places that we're allowed to go without having to jump through any hoops. And he does seem to like Dublin, so it's like, let's go to Dublin. £15 flights there, £12 back. There you go, that'll do. Nice. So we're going for 2 nights, 3 days, and then when I get back next day, myself and the lovely Shell we're basically doing one last Merlin pass blowout before we cancel them. So we're going to Alton Towers on the Sunday, and then driving down to Windsor rather, staying there, going to Legoland the next day, staying overnight, going to Chessington the next day going into London. We're going to do Madame Two Swords, and then in the evening we're going to go and watch the Back to the Future musical, and then the next day we're going to go to the Dungeons, we're going to go to the Shrek Adventure, we're going to do London Eye, and then the next day we're going to do Thorpe Park, and then we're going to drive home. So it's literally like, look how much we spent on these passes, let's actually get some use out of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
it'll be a really fun,
hopefully. And I was like, we went to Thorpe Park, we went to Chessington and Legoland last year. In fact, no, we went to Thorpe Park as well last year, and we did little videos about like, this is what it's like with all the COVID restrictions, just to sort of show this is how the theme parks are, because they'd only just opened. So I was like, it's great, we'll be able to go and not do a video. But I bought a new gimbal and I want to try it out. So I was like, maybe there is something we could do. But yeah, I had an idea that we're going to try and do something. Every park we go to, we're going to do like a challenge. So it'll be a very short little thing. We're on towers. We have to score 500,000 points total on Duel or something like that. We go to Thorpe Park, we've got to do every ride in alphabetical order. We go to Legoland and, I don't know, little things like that, just to make it a little bit interesting. So I'm going to see if we can get people on Instagram to give us some ideas. But if you're listening to this and you can think of something, we need something to do at either the Dungeons, London Eye, or the Shrek thing, because that's all one day. We need something to do at Madame Tussauds. We need something to do at Thorpe Park, at Chessington, and Legoland, and Alton Towers. So give us some ideas. And that same goes to you, Reg. Start thinking.
Okay. I will. I'll give you a list of loads of stuff to do. And then you can be like, nope. Like, okay.
Well, maybe, but at least you tried.
That's the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. I have also booked myself a ticket for Alton Towers.
All right,
exciting. For Oliver's birthday on the 5th of November.
Interesting. Oh, so that's when are they doing fireworks that day?
They are doing fireworks. So that's what we are doing. We are going with Ash's mum and dad, and in the hope that they may be like, go on, just go on a ride or two, it's fine. While they literally just like taking around CBeebies and they've never been before, so I'm like, this will be fun. So we're taking them to Alton Towers for Oliver's birthday, letting him have a little mooch around CBeebies land and stuff. Yeah. And then we're going to go watch the fireworks. Nice. And come back. We were going to stay over, but
I can't imagine how expensive that would be.
That'll, yeah. I was going to say we could genuinely. I think when we worked it out, it was the price of one of us to fly to Florida and have a Universal ticket. Yeah. So I was like,
it's definitely the busiest day of the year. Even even the Scarefest doesn't get as busy as the fireworks. Yeah, I totally understand that, it's not as big an issue now with being in a little bit of a crowd, but I cannot see how fireworks, Alton Tower, if you've ever been to the Alton Towers fireworks, it's like you're at a festival and you're in that big crowd in front of the main stage of like 30,000 people, and you can't move. You cannot move. And when everything finishes and everyone tries to sort of get out, you've got people inches from you. It's impossible. So find a good, safe, distant spot.
I was going to say, we're going to be towards the back just so we can turn tail and run, because by the time that the fireworks finish, Oliver will literally be falling asleep on my shoulders.
Fair enough.
I think it's going to be so knackered in it. By be about 9 o'clock or something by the time they finish.
Yeah. So yeah, it's about that. Yeah, they tend to finish just in time for you to go and get on one last ride. So we usually leg it to Wicker Man and try and get a dark ride on that.
That would be awesome, but unfortunately, I was going to say I don't think there's any chance of that one. We'll get to go on it before the fireworks and stuff, because they said Ash's dad was like, yeah, and if you want to go on like a ride or two, we'll happily stay with Oliver and see BB's land and stuff while you do that. And I was like, cool.
Oh, too. And take Oliver on Hex.
Right. Part of my plan is to see if he is old enough to get on that, because I'd love to take him on it, just to have him blow his mind at the going upside down bit. So I think that is the only age that would find Hex acceptable.
Yeah, quite rightly.
It'll be it should be a fun one.
Nice, awesome.
So looking forward to that. And that's the first thing I've got tickets for such a long time. That's not like Chester Zoo.
No.
So I'm looking forward to it, to be fair.
No, it doesn't quite count that, does it? Chester Zoo.
Not when I'm there every other week, to be fair.
Oh, well, that's something to look forward to.
It is. I am really looking forward to it, to be fair. It's just nice to do something different, because I'm getting very jealous of everyone going to theme parks and stuff.
You can actually give us like a trip report from CBeebies land, like from a kid's perspective. Because
I'm planning on doing a little thing.
Nice. There you go then.
So it should be fun.
And you can do it for our new podcast, Coasting. Our theme park podcast that we need to get started. So in fact, that's perfect opportunity. Me going on a Merlin trip,
I know, right?
That's the perfect time to start.
It's almost as though it was planned.
Well, it wasn't, but yeah, I like his little sarcastic comment there, but it definitely wasn't. It was just like, we've booked a week off to go to Malta. Oh wait, we can't go to Malta without spending £100 each on tests. Okay, never mind. Let's go to Alton Towers and Thorpe Park instead. Yeah, and hopefully, Back to the Future musical's good. And I'm just like, I like musicals, but what I don't really like are jukebox musicals, which is, where they've just taken a story from a film or something and they've gone, let's just put a load of songs you already know.
Yeah, from that time period.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
Exactly. So that I'm not a big fan of. Now, at least with Back to the Future, you've got like 3 very well known songs, all the Huey Lewis and the News songs. So it's got these sort of tempos to build the whole story around. Other than that, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's original songs or whether it is, like more songs like that. Johnny B. Good obviously is going to be in there and things like that. So I'm okay with those. So there's 4 songs, in fact.
I think it's literally just going to be Cher's If I Could Turn Back Time for 2.5 hours.
Okay, interesting. I mean, if I'd have known that before I bought the tickets,
I would have bought premium seating.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
And cosplay.
Yeah, as Cher or as Marty McFly?
Cher, obviously.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, maybe. But other than that, I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to try, because we realised, because we're close to London every night from Sunday night, we're gonna, some musicals have like lotteries that you can enter to win tickets. Like they keep a bunch just in case. So the odd seats that are dotted around, they'll then, you can get them for a tenner or something like that. So I got a ticket to see Book of Mormon that was like a £100-odd ticket for 15 quid, and it was just right slap bang in the center of the stalls. It was amazing. And they do it for Hamilton. And the last couple of times I've been to London, I've gone on the app to put my name forward, or not one, but I figured, okay, we've actually got sort of 5 free nights while we're down there. We've finished the theme park by like 5 o'clock, so we could just hop on the tube, get into London and go and watch it. So we'll enter that every night, and hopefully we'll get to see Hamilton for a tenner.
Yeah, so that would be amazing.
Absolutely. I've avoided watching it on Disney Plus as well. Just for that reason. I'd rather go and watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say, after our conversation about it, like thinking about it, and that's definitely the next one we are going to go and actually see. So we're not
absolutely
going to do it, because we were talking about it, and she was, we were saying like, yeah, it'd be lovely to go see it, like an actual musical again, but we just haven't had the chance yet. So we'll reckon probably this time, maybe next year, a bit earlier, we'll get a chance to shoot off and go watch it, which would be bloody lovely.
Fair enough. Who'd have ever thought that you were going to be a fan of musicals?
Annoyingly, it's Matt Stone, Trey Parker's fault.
Fair enough, yeah.
Well, that and my and The Lion King. To be fair, The Lion King musical started my obsession with Disney. Because I watched the musical before I watched the actual film, so I had no idea what was about to happen, apart from the stampede level on the Lion King game. So I knew that obviously his dad passed away. That was the only thing I really sort of remembered from the game, was how awesome that level was and how hard it was.
Makes sense.
So everything that was going on, I was like, oh my God. And people were like, oh my God, they did it just like this. And I was like, I need to watch this film because this is awesome. And that's what sparked off my whole let's get obsessed with Disney malarkey. And it was only because I see like Disney and I knew she liked musicals, and I thought, right, okay, she treated me to Book of Mormon, it's only fair I treat her to something that she really wants to do.
Fair enough.
So we went and watched Lion King, and it was incredible.
Speaking of the game, I saw something recently, I think it was on Reddit, and it was about the Lion King game and why it's so impossibly difficult. I think I found it here now. I can't remember what it said, but it was to do with the the publishers said specifically. Oh, that's right. It's because back when this game came out, Blockbuster was a big thing. Blockbuster Video.
Yeah,
and people rented games a lot for next to nothing. So not as many people were buying them when they were renting them. So they wanted the game to not be completable within like the 2 or 3 day rental period. So they said just make it absolutely nails. So literally the second level of the game is one of the hardest in the entire thing. It's just I had it on the Game Gear and it wasn't that bad, but the Mega Drive version, I specifically remember being absolutely hard as nails.
Yeah, that log section was just an absolute killer.
And those monkeys that you've got to grab onto the right ones and send you in the right. Oh, geez.
I think that's what probably started a part of my hatred towards like Disney
towards Disney.
Stuff, was just hearing it just cannot wait to be king.
Yeah.
Just constant, just non-stop first like 30 to 40 seconds of it before you die, and then it starts
again. I think
you
were just doing Under the Sea.
Maybe.
I was like in my head, I was like, wait, that's not the Lion King. What is that? And then eventually I heard a Jamaican voice start singing. I was like, oh, wait.
The Lion King definitely does do this. Because I just cannot wait to be king.
Have we just stumbled on Disney plagiarizing themselves?
Probably. It sounds like it. I'm not going to lie.
Or at least Elton John plagiarizing whoever did, Alan Menken and Tim Rice, who I think, don't quote me on that, but I think they did The Little Mermaid.
But speaking of Lion King, have you seen that they're apparently doing the sequel to the live action film, and it's not going to follow the actual straight to DVD?
Oh no,
videotape. No, it's going to be something different. Which is a shame, but also great.
I had not heard they were going to do it, but I'd heard that they were talking about it years ago, like after the first one came out. But yeah, so they've done sequels to The Lion King, but none of the Disney sequels that were, apart from, let's say, Frozen 2 might have even been the first animated Disney sequel that was a true sequel to the film, like it was canon. Every other one has always been straight to DVD. Let's just make some money. Let's put our really cheap animation studio on this, so it's not going to look great, but it doesn't matter because kids are going to want to buy it. And they did Lion King 3 and they did Lion King Lion King 2 and Lion King 3, which was also Lion King 1.5. And they were just rubbish. It's the same with they did Lilo and Stitch 2, they did Stitch the movie, and then they did Leroy and Stitch. So they did 4 Lilo and Stitch movies, but the second, the third, and the fourth one were all, really low budget and again straight onto VHS. Whereas, so the stories are garbage. Nothing really matters. No one cares about it. Yet they've decided that they think they're capable of making a sequel to a true proper sequel, a big budget sequel with a decent story to the original Lion King, and I don't understand how. It's one of the most sort of full, no pun intended here, but full circle storylines. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. Finishes nicely. Everyone's happy in the end. The bad guy gets his comeuppance, and it ends. It's done. It doesn't need a follow up. I don't know how they could do a follow up without really stretching things.
I did not mean to turn this into a massive full cycle of Lion King stuff, but for some reason I had in my head and I needed to know why it was. And I wanted to know what Scar's real name was, because obviously they only call him Scar since he got the scratch on his thing. So it was doing me head in.
That does make sense, but I don't give him enough credit that was a thing. I think he called him Scar and then just went, the guy needs to have a scar.
His name is Taka. That was his original name. He was once named Taka, apparently, which was
in the script.
No, in the actual. So they did a TV obviously series called like The Lion Guard, and I think in like the Lion King 2 or something they call it. When they're chatting about him, and apparently he was like the second son of something, obviously after the Mufasa, and apparently he was called Taka, which meant in some other foreign language it was like waste or want or something like that. And the
you remember?
So when they had
Google, sorry, Google is telling me Ascari.
Is it Ascari?
Ascari.
I could have swore it was Taka.
Yeah, it's saying here about the Lion Guard.
Oh yeah, hang on, just Google it as well. So, what was Scar's original name? Taka. According to A Tale of Two Brothers, Scar was the second born of son Ahadi and Uru. He was once named Taka, which he became upset when he learnt his older brother Mufasa was chosen to be king over him. That's on the Disney wiki.
Okay, I'm on Disney.fandom, and that's telling me Ascari.
Oh,
The Lion Guard, Scar was born under the name Ascari after his ancestor, the original Ascari, and was at one point selected as the leader of the Lion Guard. I mean, it's not particularly nice that if you get a scar and then suddenly like everyone's calling you Scar, it's like you're losing an arm and everyone calling you one arm. Like it's not right. It's not particularly nice, that is it? Or maybe that's why he became so bitter and angry.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, here you go. He was once named Taka.
Apparently, there's two versions.
Oh, well, here we go. Now we're getting into the meat of it, Reg.
Welcome to the Lion King podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
At the side, it's got all his feature films he was in, TV programs, video games, voices portrayed by this guy, and then inspiration. And inspiration, you got King Claudius from Shakespeare's Hamlet. You got Macbeth.
I've just seen it.
And also Adolf Hitler. Scar.
Why is Hitler an inspiration for Scar?
He was inspired by Adolf Hitler. I mean, it's true because you've got that whole the whole scene when he's introducing the hyenas, right? And they're blooming goose stepping as he's like, he's up on top of the rock, and they're all, and then I mean, it's a mixture of metaphor because you've got the whole the Russian, you see the hammer and the sickle made up from the moon and the rock, and then you've also got them doing the Nazi walk. It's very on the nose. But that's not important. Both Taka and Ascari were both influenced by Adolf Hitler, but which one's his real name? What is A Tale of Two Brothers? That's some kind of book. Is that a Lion King book or something?
It must be. I'm going to have a quick look now, which we are wasting a lot of time talking about the Lion King play, but
you can't. People can't tell us this isn't interesting.
Let's see. Tale of Two Brothers. Tale of Two Brothers, Lion King.
Okay.
What's this then? Oh wow, it's a very, very, very old book.
Right. Nothing to do with the Lion King.
Oh yeah, no, it is the Lion King. It's the Lion King, the Tale of Two Brothers, the Lion King novelization.
Right.
Came out in 1994. It was the first book in the Lion King series of 6 new adventure books.
Okay.
Apparently, they didn't turn it into a mini show, but it doesn't look like it's an official thing at all.
Okay. All right. So it's a tough one. Are we going to be believing a 1995 children's book, or are we going to be believing a TV show? I would say a TV show is probably more canon.
I don't. I'm going to go with the 1994 because A Lion King, The Lion Guard, it only came out recently. So if you're going to go for something that is literally out the same sort of time as the actual Lion King,
okay,
I would say, yeah. A Tale of Two Brothers is a book inspired by The Lion King. It was published by The Lion King. Right, okay. I don't know. We're falling down a massive thing here, but it's definitely a Disney book.
Okay, never mind.
Crazy.
Fair enough.
But while we're on the subject of Disney stuff,
Okay.
to two things.
Mhm.
First thing is they've just announced after our conversation saying hopefully they're going to make the attraction world that's coming through in the films. No, they've just announced it's definitely going to be Jungle Cruise 2.
Okay.
It is definitely a sequel to the Jungle Cruise.
Don't call it Jungle Cruise.
I just
Look, Reg. Look at Indiana Jones. Okay, what was the first film called? Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was not called Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. The next one, they brought in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and every film was the same characters, but it all had different names. It was just, it's this guy, do that. There's nothing wrong with retconning your title for the second movie to be like, Blunt and the Rock do this stuff, whatever their names were. I don't even remember, but just don't call it Jungle Cruise 2. We don't need to go on another Jungle Cruise.
No, not the slightest. No. Especially when at the end of it, they're nowhere near like the Amazon or the jungle, anywhere near like that. It's literally back in London now.
Do not do Expedition Everest as the next one or something like that. They are just Disney do not have a Scooby-Doo.
I mean, I reckon quite a few of them listen to our pod and they're like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. How about we do that instead, guys?"
Absolutely. And then that might give them an excuse to actually go and fix the animatronic abominable snowman that's been broken for more than a decade.
When they were closed due to COVID and stuff, that was the ideal time when they started doing prep work and paint work and stuff on the rides.
Yeah. For those who don't know, is it 20 years old, this ride, maybe 15, 20 years old? And it's a roller coaster up the top of Everest. But as one of the little bits is sort of a slow moving, bit through a little story. And there is an abominable snowman that used to reach out to try and grab you. And
touch me.
There you go. And it was one of the most, at the time, one of the most impressive animatronics they did. It had a really fluid motion and it really added to the ride. And then it broke. So now it's just a stationary abominable. I got it right the first time, I'm sure.
I think that's why they haven't fixed it yet, because no one can say it.
Okay. The abominable snowman, and he doesn't move. He just stands there reaching out at you. It's like if you've ever seen a video of the Avatar ride, the boat ride, and there is this animatronic Navi, who are the blue cats, right? And she's like it's amazing the range of motion that they've managed to get into this robot thing. It's just incredible, and it's all anyone talks about on the ride. Imagine if that broke and they were just like, it's fine, let's leave it.
Yeah,
no one cares about Avatar anymore. We've just greenlit 3 more films. Oh yeah, okay. Well, let's see how they do first. Let's see if we get another $4.5 billion out of these, then maybe we'll fix it. But anyway, yeah, just do something different. Use some of your other rides. Because what people care about with that movie, it's not. I mean, there are people out there that are like, yeah, it's a Jungle Cruise ride. Jungle Cruise is at Disney, and I'm a big Disney fan, but not that many, not enough to make people go and watch the film and make it a success. Because look at stuff like Haunted House, Haunted Mansion, or whatever it was, the Eddie Murphy one.
Oh God, yeah,
exactly.
But that was awful.
That was at the peak of. Look at how good Pirates of the Caribbean was, and how that has reignited everyone's passion for this Disney ride. Let's do the same for Haunted Mansion, which arguably is at the time was probably more of a recognizable franchise. I think more people knew of that ride than they did Pirates of the Caribbean. It's totally flipped on its head now, obviously. Yeah. It's not, the ride isn't enough. What was enough was The Rock and Emily Blunt.
The thing that's weird though is that was the thing that was putting me off wanting to see it.
Jack Whitehall.
and The Rock, because I'm not really a huge Rock fan. But I do love me Disney. So that was the reason I want to watch it, was because it was based on the ride, and I'm like, I want to watch it because of that.
Fair enough.
So
Like
it did.
there are
I know
people like
it's not,
that, but that's not enough to make $100 million, is it?
No, but I am intrigued now because it's only just announced now that this is definitely going ahead, and I'm wondering if it's because obviously they sacked off Scarlett Johansson, who was doing the Tower of Terror.
Oh, was she?
With all of that, yeah,
I didn't know she had anything to do with that.
Yeah, she was helping like produce it as well and direct it or something, and she was massively tied into it. And then obviously they sacked her off because of Black Widow and whatnot. And I'm like, it's weird how they've just announced that this is what they're doing moving forward. I wonder if it maybe be part of that. Like, right, okay, we've seen she's had the hooks into most of that. Let's just make some quick money.
Well,
and then maybe after the sequel, turn it into something that's
because again, it's this explorers group that they have running through a bunch of the Disney theme park rides, and I know the one in Florida, and obviously the Tower of Terror in California has changed to Guardians of the Galaxy now, isn't it? But the Tower of Terror in Tokyo Disney Sea is part of this explorers.
It is, yeah. Have you watched the new show Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus?
No, I haven't seen any of those yet, but I will at some point. They look really interesting.
Yeah, they do the Haunted Mansion one, and some of the information stuff about it is awesome. The way they changed around for the different cultures and how they had to do it and why they did certain things. And
yes, like Phantom Manor in I think it's in Hong Kong.
Yes,
it was all because they couldn't feature like magic and ghosts and stuff like that, so it had to be. Yeah, it's sort of a different theme, didn't it?
Yeah. I say, and it's awesome. I was watching like the videos for it and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do that. Like, I know you said whenever you go to different places, you're not really that bothered. Once you've been to Disney, you've been to Disney. But I would love to do the different Disney parks.
It's like more when you've got so many options. It's an easy reason to go. I haven't got enough time to do everything, so I'm not going to do that one. Do I go to Tokyo Disneyland or do I go to Tokyo Disney Sea? And I've been to a Disneyland, so I'll do Disney Sea. If I ever went to California, I don't think I would have, knowing that I'd want to go to Universal because there'll be the Super Mario Brothers land, things like that, and I'd want to go to one of the Six Flags and do all their amazing roller coasters. Like, what else would I do? Would I want to do Disneyland or would I want to do California Adventure? And it would be California Adventure. It would be the other one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because isn't California Adventure the bit that's got the Avengers campus in it as well?
That's got Avengers. It's got Star Wars. It's got Cars Land. Yeah. So no, absolutely. But at the same time, I'm sure if I looked into it, there would be some amazing rides that I would feel like I'm missing out. Like at Tokyo Disneyland, it's got the one Monsters Inc. ride that's in the world, like the only one, and it looks great. It's just a dark ride. You're going in a little car through Monstropolis, but you have like a light on the front of your car, and you shine the light around, and as you shine it on things, monsters will pop out of the thing. So the idea is you're trying to find all the monsters in the middle of a blackout. But it's just such a cool little fun idea, and like, stuff like that I would love to go on. But it was more like, no, look, this is the different one. Let's try something different. So I don't know.
It is. It is. And finally, just while I'm talking about Disney, we watched Cruella. Like, it's on now Disney Plus.
Okay, yeah, it's made it onto actual free now.
On the free plus now. You know what? It was all right.
Yeah, it
was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The ending is just so badly done, though.
Fair enough.
Like, CGI wise, and the whole idea was just like they had so much money for the rest of the film, and they're like, "Oh, guys, we've got like 50 quid left here." Right? Who knows, like a student editor that's got a green screen?
Right.
Let's give him 50 quid and he can sort it out for us. And I'm like, really? It's honestly, it's jarring. Like, Ash was like, "This is a really good film up until this bit," and I was like, "Yep." Like, I really
don't go into it so we don't spoil it for people, but I try to remember what it was. I didn't notice if that was the case, but I might have a look at the end of it, and next time I'll be like, oh yeah, totally agree. I kind of liked it. I know my Shell really liked it. I thought it was good.
It's
but
definitely a girly. I'm not sounding sexist and stereotypical. It's definitely a girly film. I think. Like when we watch it, like our niece would love this. Because
I just don't like all
the fashion world and stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, it is all.
I suppose
A bit about that.
I just don't like when they, there's so many like, look, this is that character, this is that character, this is that person. It's like, look, they're all going to grow up to be these other characters, and look, that's look, that's Pogo. He's going to be coming back in it later. I hate when films are just constantly like that. When they do prequels that are so like, hey, look, it's this guy. Yeah, you remember him? So
yeah,
that was the bit that just it was hard for me to get over that while I'm watching it. So I don't think I could ever have enjoyed it enough.
See, that's good because I haven't watched the actual like 101 and 100. We've got them, but I haven't actually watched them yet.
I mean, I'd seen them so long ago, but I think they're one of those that you just,
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I've played the Kingdom Hearts version, so I know the story and whatnot. So,
I mean, that's it. You probably have. I mean, maybe less so nowadays, but your Disney knowledge for a long time was all based on Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
Yeah, not in a bad way,
No, I was like, no. I was quite happy I knew who I knew and stuff was turned up. I was like, oh my god, he's from Kingdom Hearts. I know what happens here.
Speaking kind of Kingdom Hearts, I haven't had that much chance to play much more Final Fantasy VII, but I have now got up to. I've just left the basically Sector 7 or whatnot. I'm out. Outside the walls now. I'm going to Cloud and Tifa's old village and whatnot. So I'm in a little flashback bit of finding out who Sephiroth is. But my point is, I am now
in new territory.
You're correct, yeah. So I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake, all 40 hours of the gameplay, and now I've played all 5 hours of exactly the same story on Final Fantasy VII, the original one. And it's really nice seeing everything. I wasn't sure how it would work doing it backwards, because I'm sure half the idea is you're supposed to have played Final Fantasy VII and you do remake and you're like, oh yeah, it's that, oh wow, that, and you see everything they've added to it. But it's really cool doing it backwards and being like, oh, okay, I see how they dragged that out, and that was really good. Like going through the train yard, for example. In remake, it's a good like sort of 2 or 3 hour section where you've got these ghost children that one of them takes over Aerith, and it's really, really good. It's a really good little section, or decent sized section. Yeah, in this, it's about 2 screens. It's like, get through the trains, go over the top, under there, right, out. Okay, there you go. You've done it. And it's the same when you're going through. I think it's through some of the old tunnels. And there's like robot hands and things that you climb over, and that is literally one in the original Final Fantasy VII. That is one screen. Yet in the remake, that is this whole big section where you've got there's about 3 or 4 sections where you have to control the robot hands to lift up like shipping containers and stuff to make bridges.
Oh god, that sounds tedious.
It is and it isn't. It's at least it's not. If it was in the style of Final Fantasy VII, the original, where every 30 seconds the screen's like, and then you got a battle, it would be, because you're just getting on with the puzzle, and then suddenly you've got to do a battle. But it's not. It's it's you see things attacking you, and you can go after them if you want, or you can just run past them, whatever you want to do. So you just get on with the puzzles, and No, I mean, I really liked it, and it genuinely, I think it's my favorite game of last year, and it's right up there in terms of quality games I've played in the last few years. It was so good, really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, so that was my little aside of thingy. I even had a little segue that I could have segued from sort of bad films and prequels and things, trying to reference future versions of them, by telling you a little bit about when I went to see Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe.
Oh, you didn't.
I did. and it was, it was 2 weeks ago now, and I don't really want to go too much in it, but I've taken to, when I go to the cinema, it's generally in the middle of the day. It's always really quiet, especially if it's a film no one else wants to see, which this kind of was. So I think there was me and two other people in the screening, and I was on the back row. And the good thing about sitting on the back row, if the stuff I know while I'm watching the film, I want to talk about on the pod, I get my phone out and I'm noting stuff down. So I've got quite a few little notes about how I mean, I'll sum it up straight away. It was really bad. I really hoped it wasn't. I thought it looked like it might have been a fairly decent, fun little film. And it's fun to see him running around Japan and stuff like that, and going, "Oh, I've been there. Look at that," and all this. And it actually started off the first 10 to 15 minutes of the film. The main guy, the guy who becomes Snake Eyes, he's working for the Yakuza. And it's got this whole sort of Yakuza storyline where he then has to fight a load of the bad guys, and it was a really good fight scene. And I thought, oh, this might be good if you've got a sort of a really good, decent Yakuza story. There's a really stupid bit where him and his mate get into this truck and they shut the doors, and then all these Yakuza are running after them with swords, and they all jump onto the front of the truck and start stabbing, like through the windscreen, through the window on the side, through the roof with their swords. And every sword that goes in gets stuck, or they just don't take them out. So it's like Pop-Up Pirate. They're like, all these swords are coming flying left, right, and center, and they're right in the middle of this. And I was like, that I thought would give me a good idea of the sort of the serious / cheese level of the film, because that's a really sort of stupid little thing, like, oh yeah, it's Pop-Up Pirate. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick with that. It just descends into stupidness. I mean, the first thing is, so after that, so that's based in America, he gets on a plane, and basically he's earned the trust of this guy who's working with the Yakuza, and he says, they're going to be after you now. They're all going to want to kill you. So I'm going to take you home, and I'm part of this ancient Japanese dynasty that protects this gem. And we don't trust outsiders, but I think I can trust you. So I'm going to take you back to my home. You're going to meet my mom, who's the patriarch of the family. And we'll see if you can become one of our family, an honorary member. So he flies over, and they get there, and it's got the really stereotypical, they get off the plane, they get into a car, and then he drives across Shibuya crossing, and he drives in front of one of the temple, and it's just like, it's Japan, Japan, Japan. And you see sumo wrestlers, and you see people playing big drums, and then you're out into a castle, and like, okay, right, I see what this film's going to be like. And then they get there, and it's this ancient Japanese castle, and there's this like the main woman comes out, and there's all these ninjas around, and they're watching him, and he gets them to bow to him, and absolutely everyone speaks perfect English. Like, even when, like, there's maybe 3 or 4 very, very short bits in the film where one of the characters speaks Japanese and you have to have subtitles. Like, in a 2-hour film, you're probably taking about 40 seconds worth of subtitles in the entire film. So when everyone's talking English, I thought, okay, maybe that's just a choice they're making. Everyone speaks English just because it's a film, whatever. But then when you do show that these people do speak Japanese, it's then a bit of an odd choice, especially when you've got, like, they're all talking English for the benefit of Snake Eyes, who's American. But there are moments when there's just clearly Japanese people talking, and they're all talking English to each other. Like, there's no one else in the room, so it's for no one else's benefit. It was just very, very bizarre. And just, I don't know, to me, it just stunk a bit of sort of bad filmmaking. Just, people don't care about reading subtitles. People are quite happy to watch a film where they have to read subtitles every now and again. So I don't know why they thought it wasn't worth doing. Though with it is a kid film as well, though, isn't it? To be fair, like I know G.I. Joe's for everybody, but like, isn't that world
mainly for the kids and teenagers that
I suppose, but it was
really
quite. I mean, it was
bothered.
quite dark and quite violent. So it's not. I mean, it's definitely. I think it was a 12A. So that's the age that it's looking at. So yeah, kids as in sort of teenagers, I guess. And then the parents who probably played with GI Joes. But I mean, I wasn't there to watch a film because I'm like, yeah, GI Joe. I never played with GI Joes. I never owned a single GI Joe. And I've no clue about any of the characters apart from watching those two films. So
I thought you were going to say apart from the. Have you watched the redubbed thing on YouTube? Like I watched it when I was in school, so I know it's really really old, but it's the one that was like G.I. Joe, and it's just some really random redubbing of the episodes. They last for like about 3 minutes or something each one, and they were incredible. They were genuinely amazing.
Then I might check that out.
You have to check that out.
Than
They are amazing.
Well, the without. I mean, do you know what? Some films we don't want to spoil on this, but I feel like this really doesn't matter. If you want to waste your time going to see this film, then just turn off. Stop listening. We don't want you.
Well, he doesn't. I do.
No, we do really, but it's we don't want to. We're not going to ruin things like Marvel films, Star Wars film, anything decent and important. Suicide Squad. We didn't spoil any of that. But this doesn't matter. No one cares. And essentially the idea is so he's basically infiltrating this family because the Yakuza boss told him that if he does that and manages to steal this precious gem that they're looking after, that they've looked after for centuries, he'll tell him who murdered his dad. Okay, he'll sort all that out for him. So he has to pass 3 tests to join the family, and the very first one, basically, there's this guy who's really high up in the family, and he's an amazing martial artist and everything. And the idea is they both get some wooden bowls, fill them with water, and he says, to pass the first test, you must take this bowl off me without spilling a drop. You have 4 tries. If you fail, that's it. If you fail 4 times, that's it. You can't do it. And then one of the characters turns to the main head woman of the family and goes, he's never going to pass this. Like 80% of people fail this test. There's no way he's ever going to pass. And then it shows him basically attacking the guy, trying to get the bowl of water, and he keeps spilling it. First time, fails. Second time gets thrown on the floor, and the guy pours the water on his head. Third time he fails. And then he's like, 4th time, what am I going to do? And he's like, maybe I don't fight him. Maybe I just... And he walks up to him and says, it would be an honor if you would please let me take your bowl of water in exchange for mine. And the guy goes, that is acceptable. And they swap bowls. And they're like, oh, so it wasn't a fighting thing all along. It was all about humility and, being kind and asking for your opponent for what you want. Now, loads of people are watching this. All the ninjas are standing around watching this thing. And this is apparently the same test that they've done for centuries. Yet they've managed to keep it a secret that all you have to do to pass this test is ask the guy for the bowl of water. And 80% of people have failed. Like, there's at no point did someone go, psst, by the way, yeah, I've seen this happen before. We do this every year. Just ask him for the bowl of water. It just seems so stupid. They made this big point of being like 80% of people don't succeed in this. But anywho, so passes that test, passes the next test, passes the final test. Oh, he's about to be accepted into the family. And then he steals the gem. And it turns out this gem basically controls fire, and it can make anything you point it at burst into flames. So the bad guy gets hold of it, and there's this huge battle in the castle, and all the lackey ninjas are running at him to attack him, and he just turns and points the gem at him, and they literally burst into flames, and they're gone. Yet at certain points, some of the important characters will come up to him, like the woman who runs the family, the son, the daughter, the head of security and stuff. Every time they go to attack him, he just holds on to the gem and then tells his his lackey, his own like minions to go attack them. Like you're literally holding this fire rock that could destroy. Like in an instant, you could have wiped out the entire family. Yet you're like, oh no, I only use this for the lower guys. The big guys, I'm going to send my useless minions after you, who clearly will lose. Just there's so many little stupid, annoying things. I'm just sat. I mean, I had my head in my hands for half the film because I just want a good, decent plot and decent action, fun film, and this just had so little of it. Ew. So many things wrong. I think that's most of my notes. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, it annoyed me because they went into a bathhouse and all the Japanese people were wearing towels. Which just doesn't happen. Just don't do it, Red. You don't wear towels in bathhouses. And I get that it's a film. They're not going to show naked Japanese people. But despite that, it's just just lots of silly things that I hated. And it felt to me like they wanted to get this film out. I mean, did it get announced at the same time as Shang-Chi?
No idea. No, it's been announced for years, hasn't it? The Snake Eyes.
So was Shang-Chi. So I don't know. It feels like they wanted to get this film out before Shang-Chi and maybe capitalize on the same sort of thing, because it's similar in a way. It's the sort of the whole martial arts type thing. But he's just, I really hope Shang-Chi's a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, I'm adamant it will be. The reviews and stuff it's getting seems really good. So
yeah, I'm seeing some good reviews.
Have you started watching What If yet?
I've watched the first one. Not got to watch any.
They get better. They get a lot better. I will say. And the first one was all right, but they do get better.
Okay, fair enough.
So they've only done 3 so far. By the time this one airs, it'll be on number 4. But yeah, because I forgot as well, it's every Wednesday. So I've been like, oh, it's Friday, I can watch a What If. And then I was chatting to Mike over it, and he's like, they release them on Wednesdays now, remember? And I was like, oh yeah. Right, okay, I could do that on Wednesday, didn't know instead, but hey ho.
Yeah, it's one of those, because none of them really matter.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry to watch them. That's the only difference. So I will watch them. It's like the Star Wars, what's it called? Star Wars Legends or something like that. The anime they're doing.
I'm not arsed about that. Slightest. I mean, Japanese anime.
Yeah, I am in the watching the trailer. Some of them look really good. But again, they don't really matter, so it's not something I'm going to rush to watch, but I probably will watch them at some time. Like they've got Studio Trigger, who do they did an anime called Kill la Kill and a film a couple of years ago called Promare, and their animation is amazing. It's so good. I'm really looking forward to theirs. You can see theirs in the trailer. It really stands out because they've just got this unique like animation style. So it was like the Animatrix when the Animatrix was out. Didn't really care that much about the Matrix at the time, but it was a really cool little thing that they did.
That was.
So similar to that. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Speaking of it, we've got a title.
Yeah. Have you read the synopsis and stuff for it as well?
I have not. No.
I used the entire wrong word there as well. It's not the synopsis. It's the it's obviously shown like a little snippet, like trailer thing, at the Warner Brothers, whatever the fuck it was they were showing off. And then explain where it starts off with Neo in lying down like in a therapist room, just like in the first film.
Right.
But it's Neil Patrick Harris who's the therapist, and he's chatting to him, and then apparently he leaves and goes for a coffee in a coffee shop, and Trinity's sitting in the coffee shop, and he walks past and they sort of look at each other, and she goes, don't I know you? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And then like he then leaves, and apparently a very young Morpheus comes up to her and is like, it's time to take your pill or something like that.
Okay.
And down the rabbit hole is playing as it happens, and it zooms out and it's like Matrix Revolution.
Right.
No.
Okay. Resurrections.
Resurrections, isn't it? Yeah,
which makes sense. I watched a couple of months ago. I watched the first Matrix again, and I really like that film. I think on its own, it's a really good film. And then I watched the second one, and I started maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I got about halfway through, and I just couldn't do any more. And I finished it the other day. I just had nothing else on while I was doing some work. So I thought, okay, let's just pop that on. And it's so bad, it doesn't even compare to the first one. They've tried so hard to expand it and make it this really deep and meaningful and important film, but it's just so badly done. It's awful. And the third one got better. I remember it at least wrapped it up a little bit better, but I don't hold out that much hope for the fourth one. I don't think the Wachowskis are that great as filmmakers. I think they got pretty lucky on the first 100%. Matrix.
Yeah.
I quite like Cloud Atlas, even though I know a lot of people hate it, but I like the idea of that. I like the ambition of it, but I just don't know. I don't try. Well, to be fair, it's only Lana that's doing this one. I forget the other Wachowski sister's name, but she didn't want to retread old. No, it makes perfect sense in that she didn't want to retread old ground that was from her old life when they were the Wachowski brothers, for example. So it makes sense that she's like, that's done. That was that life. This is me, and I don't want to have anything more to do with it, which makes sense. But yeah, I hope it's one of those things. I hope they only did it because they got the right script, and it's not like they did it because they could do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
take it they aged Morpheus down, did they? They did that, the Marvel Disney de-aging thing.
Well, it's Lawrence Fishburne wasn't invited back, was he, at all to do the fourth one? And he's like, I don't know why. The first I heard of it coming out was when they announced the resurrection subtitle, and he's like, oh, right, okay, so yeah, I wasn't invited back to do that then.
Because what I've heard is it's set like weeks or months after the third one.
Yeah.
So it's a bit odd. It's you're gonna have. I mean, I guess Keanu Reeves doesn't look a whole lot different, but everyone else does.
And the rest of the cast apparently still in it. But it's weird because the Matrix Online game was canon, and the Wachowski, whatever the fuck, Wachowski brothers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Wachowski sisters now, as they are, came out and said that this is genuinely a direct follow-on from the last Matrix. Like this is 100% story, and Morpheus gets killed in that. So now everyone's like, hang on a minute, you came out and said that this is canon, yet Morpheus is in the resurrection. Like what's occurring, what's going on? So it's like interesting, and he dies in a really shit way as well. So it's just
there you go. Understandable that they retcon that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the game. What was Enter the Matrix, wasn't it?
It was great.
It was a really fun game, and it was weird. It was based on Jada Pinkett Smith, on her character, wasn't it? Who appears in the second one, but doesn't really do anything. She's just at a couple of the meetings, and it was almost like, I mean, imagine being that actor, and you get cast in a Matrix, like your character. You are the lead character in a video game. You will be in the film a little bit, just so we can link those two things together.
Yeah.
And in fact, she's in the Matrix Resurrections by the looks of it.
She is indeed.
Yeah, interesting. I one of those things. I'm interested in seeing it, and I really hope that they do a better job, and they don't try and drag it out to give us another 3 movies. Just keep it.
I think it's just a one. I think from what I was reading about this, which again it makes you ring like, why? When they ended it the way they did, they don't really need to do a fourth one. I know it's just money, and they might like, oh no, this is the perfect script, and we are still relevant, but no. And the other thing with the Matrix started bullet time, really.
Yeah. Yes.
But now it's been done to death, so they need to bring out something fresh and new with this Matrix to make it stand out from other sort of films now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting move to see how they proceed with this. To be fair, so I'm intrigued. I'm not like I can't wait for this, but at the same time, yeah, it's unlike Spider-Man No Way Home, which trailer was incredible.
Okay, I wasn't as thrilled as you were.
Were you not?
No, I don't know what it was. I think it was. I'm so used to these teaser trailers not really telling you much about what's going on. Yet this, I'm sure it didn't, on a whole, but seemed to basically, Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange and says, "Oh, can you change all this?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then does some magic spell and it all goes wrong, and then multiverse. Like, that seemed to give you the whole setup of the film, and also I don't see the motivation that Doctor Strange would have to go, yeah, let's mess with all the timelines.
Well, have you heard all the theories and the rumors that it's not actually Doctor Strange?
Okay, no.
That he's gone to see. So it obviously he thinks it is Doctor Strange, but it's not.
So does Thingy Wong, because Wong's in it. Wong goes off on holiday, or goes off to fight Abomination. As we'll probably find out. Anyway.
Yeah, which is mad how they're bringing him back. But there's so many like theories about who it actually is and what's going down. Trying to get them back up again on here because I spent ages when it first came out getting like, oh really? Oh, that's exciting. And yeah, I'm very, very, very intrigued. And the thing I like is like you said, obviously, like, right, okay, this is the plot. Like, we knew that it was going to include the multiverse in it anyway, so that there's no big surprise that that's a part of it at all.
No,
and I don't think
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's the biggest surprise to anyone. So that bit doesn't faze me. I'm intrigued to know how they're going to proceed with everything. So like the way they bring it up when Dr. Octopus is like, "Hello, Peter," like that's blatantly not Tom Holland he's speaking to.
It might not be. No,
that's definitely Tobey Maguire that he's chatting to and stuff. So I'm like, I can't wait to see those interactions properly. But the way that they did it in the trailer, like a couple of guys I was speaking to were just like, "Oh yeah, it's weird, isn't it, showing him up against him?" And I was like, "It's not him though." And with his legs now, like the arms being red, so like they're in control, and it's not him that's in control of it still, and that sort of stuff. It's like, he gets really, really into it. So I'm intrigued with that a lot more. But
I am.
As Spider-Man just being my favorite superhero, I'm genuinely like, I'm excited for this one because they've done a really good run, and I can't see him fucking this up.
No, I get that, and I do have faith that there's more to it. But
there's got to be. There's reason like
that,
you said,
that seems so straightforward and by the numbers. Like, oh yeah, I'll mess with this, and that just wouldn't. I don't.
Especially because
we've had up to this point has shown that he wouldn't do anything like that.
Well, yeah, because the main thing is he can see every single outcome that ever needs to happen. Why didn't he do that before messing with it? To be like, right, okay, so this is how it could go down and stuff. So there's obviously a lot of stuff that they're not showing you. So I've got no fear about that. It's not going to be as quick and as simple as. I mean, it could be because there's a shed ton of characters needs to be, and it could be the Spider-Man 3 curse again all over. But I hope it's not, and I hope they do put a little bit more effort in. Then
I mean,
sure, watch this. Done.
He's got the power to do all this that breaks open the multiverse. Yeah, he hasn't got the power to fix the hole in the roof to stop the snow getting in.
It's a nice touch, though.
Is it? I mean, yeah.
And he's got a cape to keep him warm, so it's all right.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. There is nothing that would stop me rushing to see this film day one, but it just, especially after everything that happened with the trailer, how some, that really bad version of it got leaked and then it started to get out, and eventually they went, right, okay, here it is on my birthday, no less. It was a nice little treat. But so I think I was like really, as most of the internet was, I was really hyped up to watch the trailer, and I watched it and I was like, Okay, all right. It's not what I expected. But okay, but like I say, it's not gonna stop me from rushing out to see the film. So it's fine. It's totally fine.
Good.
It's fine.
It's fine. There's been loads of random film reveals and like sizzle trailers and stuff coming through. Did you read about the Uncharted film footage as well?
No.
Came out while talking about Tom Holland. Yes, it turns out this is going to be an absolute train wreck. Okay. So
this one you haven't got faith in.
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, let's be honest, I've never had faith in this Uncharted film.
Oh no, absolutely.
Mainly due to the fact that it's got fucking Mark Wahlberg as Sully in it, which is just a bit of a piss take. But you know what? Let that go past. It's fine. They've shown as in part of this huge sizzle reel that's coming up, loads of Sony films in like their lineup, which is coming through. They've shown a couple of shots. So one of which is what was it again? So it shows Sully going, "Do you ever want to go on any of those kind of adventures we've only read about in books?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then it shows you like a couple of like screenshots about what's coming up, like little teaser bits. So one of them is a pirate ship, which was, as you've just played Uncharted, the run is in Uncharted 4, which is coming through. So I'm like, right. So if he's young Drake, why are they doing the pirate ship that looks exactly like the one in Uncharted 4? That's weird. And then apparently the other bit which made people go all up in arms is there's a shot where Drake's fallen out of an airplane that looks exactly like the sequence from Uncharted 3.
Okay. So they're just they're not following anything. It's the characters and it's different parts of story from all over the series, isn't it?
But it's young Nathan Drake. He's never done anything like this before. So how can they do all these things that as a bit of a seasoned adventurer and going off on all these mad trails and, is a lot older, so could take a lot more damage than a very young Nathan Drake who's starting off on it all? It's just, I mean, apparently it was quite well received when it was going through. But yeah, just no, absolutely no. Like in that scene, it was done, but everybody in the comment sections of anything you go on, everyone's booting off massively, and I'm like, yeah, fair point.
Yeah, I'm not that precious about the games. I've still only played Golden Abyss or whatever, the Vita one. So
right, I thought you'd worked your way through the.
No, I've got all 4 of them now because
right,
three
you've got them. You haven't played them,
right? Yeah.
Okay.
So I've not got there yet. And I will, and I probably am going to enjoy them, but at this stage, I'm not there yet. In terms of like, I wouldn't recognize anything being out of place.
Right. But, okay. Fair enough.
So
I've gone through them, and we all know my opinion anyway of Uncharted. It's all right. Yeah. It's not great, but it's all right. But yeah, I've got no faith in that. But I can't believe that there's so much I want to discuss, but we're an hour and 20 minutes in, and like what I want to talk about is probably going to take about another half hour to an hour. So,
what was that? Resident Evil?
Yeah, and it was also Gamescom.
All right. I haven't seen much that's come out of Gamescom, to be honest.
A load of announcements coming through that I was like, okay, let's talk about this. But yeah, we'll talk about them next time round because that will take up a chunk of stuff I want to talk about.
I mean, you've got sausages in, haven't you?
Well, it's not just that they're not cooking anymore. They've literally stopped cooking, but it will take up a huge chunk, and I do need to shoot off.
Well, fair enough then. That's different. So you're trying to put it on me there, being, you haven't got any time or anything. But no, this is just you. You want to get to your sausages. I understand.
To be fair, mate, I'd probably prefer sleep, but I need to eat as well.
Yeah, well, true. Fair enough. All right, never mind then. That's fine. We'll end it here. Sorry, guys. Reg is being a sport.
I'm just keeping them hooked on until next time.
Yep. Next time I might even get to talk to you about the finale of Biker Grove.
The alien one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The T-Rexes and everything. I had no idea.
Have we not talked about this before?
Never.
Who the hell did I talk? I've had a massive conversation about this with someone. If it wasn't you, then I can't remember who the hell it was. I've got no other reason as to why that came up in conversation apart from on a random podcast.
Okay, well, it definitely wasn't me. Because it came up on Reddit and someone put it on Today I Learned. Today I learned that Biker Grove, a relatively grounded British teen drama set in a youth club which aired 1989 to 2006, which I can't believe it went on that long, to be honest, ended with all the characters becoming aware they were in a TV show with no free will of their own, fending off a T-Rex attack and ultimately being blasted into a void of nothingness.
Yeah,
and I was like, no. And then I clicked on the link and read about it and saw a clip, and yeah, it's so bizarre. So very, very bizarre.
It really was.
Yeah,
I remember watching that as well.
This probably isn't worth talking about again then after this, but just to give a general gist of it, which will take 2 minutes. They found out that they were part of a TV show, and the writers were gonna we're basically gonna write everything out of the show. So all the characters had to write their own endings, and one of them wrote one about aliens, one of them wrote one about T-Rexes and stuff. And the only way that they could stop the Grove from disappearing into nothingness as it started to was to get someone to buy Biker Grove. I don't even know how that actually ended in the end, to be honest. If I do watch it, because someone's put a link in the Reddit thread to the final episode, which is on YouTube. I might talk about it a bit more next, but probably not, because I think that's all there is to say. Just how weird is that?
Yeah, it's really bizarre, out of nowhere as well. Like I said, as it's completely grounded, it was like, what?
People are comparing it to that. Well, someone says here, it's just like that alternate Breaking Bad ending. And then loads of people are talking about, oh yeah, the Malcolm in the Middle thing. And then someone finally chimes in and said, that wasn't a real thing. That was like for Saturday Night Live or something. Did you ever see that where what's his name? The guy who plays Walter White, Bryan Cranston, wakes up and he's in bed with his wife from Malcolm in the Middle, and he's like, oh, I had this horrible dream that this and this and I was a meth king or whatever. And and everyone's like, oh, that would have been great if it was all tied into Malcolm in the Middle. No, it wasn't real. It was a joke. It was entirely a joke. This was actually a TV series that ended with dinosaurs and aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But anyway, if only we could end with dinosaurs and aliens.
One day.
Nice. Thank you for listening. See you next time.
Thanks for having me. Doodles.